Day 2 of the 7 richest days in racing, and we're looking at a daily double that you'll want to play. Welcome back to Doubling Down with Colin and Vinny. As you can see, I am not joined by Vinny today. He decided to take a vacation after his big $1.80 score in our last week's show. Instead, I'm joined by PhillyBoy415 on your Twitter. That is Andrew, who is a turf handicapping specialist. He's also working in partnership with Parks and Stable Duel. What's happening, Andrew? Welcome to the show.
Doing good. Yeah, we got some side hustle work with Stable Duel with the preparation for the Pennsylvania Derby at the September 24th. Do a little shameless plug there, but check that out. I have a link in my bio on Twitter. A little sign up link if anybody wants to check it out. Play along on the Monday games. We have a big one coming up on Labor Day, so fun things to look at. But today we focus on Kentucky Downs.
Well, I got to put you on the spot, though. Our newest member of Trust the Profits YouTube is Matt DeSantis, failed to menace. Who should I take if I'm betting on you or him to win a Stable Duel contest?
Well, you could probably just bet the head-to-head matchup, as he's going to be there on Pennsylvania Derby Day for the second year in a row. I met him last year, so cool dude, very good handicapper, one of the nicest guys in the game. So it would be tough to try to take him down, and I think he might be the same way. But I have the home court advantage there. So
you do, so I'm taking you. He is extremely good at Stable Duel. Me and him posted a video on my show, All In with Colin. That is evergreen. You can go back and get Stable Duel tips that will help you anytime. And so if you're going to be playing that big PA Derby tournament, then be sure to check that one out as well. But as Andrew said, we're going to take a look at Kentucky Downs, who has 7 days of racing, as they call it, the 7 richest days in racing. You have big purses. They're all on the turf. I don't play it a lot. I started to get into it when COVID hit. Usually by the time Saratoga ends, my brain is fried. I've lost all my money, and it's time to take a break and wait for Breeders' Cup. But obviously, as I've dove into doing this with Trust the Profits, I'm a lot more engaged, and Kentucky Downs is something that's unique to North America racing. What is it that you can give our viewers as they enter into this meet?
There's a couple tidbits I could give out. I'm not an expert at Kentucky Downs. I do like to play it. I like the process of handicapping a course like this. We have a picture that we could show of what the track layout looks like. They have different start points there. It's very unique. As Vinny told me recently, it looks like he tried to draw the oval after a couple beers, but that's the uniqueness of this. Some people call it a gimmick meet. I call it a meet where we can make money because of the full fields, and everybody brings their best game, and anything can happen. So the 2 races we're looking at today are both at mile start. So as you can see, the mile start kind of comes on the turn, comes out of the turn, and then the first furlong is basically uphill, slightly, and then it goes into the turn. It's a very long and wide turn, and then when you come out of the turn, there's a little bit of a slight hill down the stretch. They usually show a camera view of it looking like it's going to be the finish, but you probably have another 16th or even an eighth of a mile left. So hopefully you're not rooting a horse home and you're thinking it's the wire, but then you got another maybe 14 seconds left of the race. But yeah, once you get to the hang of it, it's fun and it can be rewarding. And I usually tend to look at horses that are running, further races and are running for a, on paper, shorter distance at Kentucky Downs, because it's going to be a little bit more taxing on these horses. I like European breds. I like European jockeys. I was telling you earlier before we start the stream, I think a jockey like Vincent Chemino, a jockey like Adam Beshiza, even Florent Giroux, they're all going to kind of take a little bit, a better kind of approach to this course than some of the other jockeys. So those are the guys I'm going to be watching out for, types of horses I'm going to be looking for, and that's why I like it.
That's great tips for us to start out. And we are going to start by taking a look at, for our daily double, we're looking at day 2 of the racing, which is Saturday. And we're going to do the race 7 and race 8 daily double. Race 7 is post time 3:48 Central Time. And we're going a mile on the turf, as you mentioned, for $500,000. This is for the fillies. Where'd you land here in race 7?
Yeah, the first leg of the double is 2-year-old fillies. Second leg is a 2-year-old males, both the same type of race, purse, all that. So it's just boys and girls separated. But for the fillies, I have which is the first leg, I have Chop Chop and Callie's Gift. They're my top two. I only use two of them, so I'm just gonna go over them in order. So Chop Chop for Brad Cox and Raylu Gutierrez. This horse ran really well at Ellis Park, and it was a 1 mile race, which is kind of a little bit short for what I was, my point earlier, but about how I like horses that go a little longer. But this horse was stalking the right position, drew clear, was a little wide on the stretch, maybe ran probably like a mile and a 16th, or at least a mile and a 70 on paper. Raylu Gutierrez is coming in to ride it, which is also a good sign, especially because he could be riding really anywhere he wants. So I'm glad he comes in. He's riding Kentucky Downs. He's ridden here before, so he kind of knows the course. This horse has a good, respectable buyer in the field. I just think everything points that this horse can improve, and it was very professional first time out, so I like that as well. Number 8 was Callie's Gift, which is still a maiden in a 2-year-old stake, which is a little bit more common than some people might think. Some people also might shy away from a horse that hasn't won going against winners, especially for a $500,000 purse. But this horse ran a mile or debuted for a mile and a 16th at Saratoga back, I think, on the second weekend or second week. And it was a maiden special weight for 105,000. Today is $500,000 stake, so the classes are still decent for Joe Sharp. And this horse was kind of wide, two path, 3 path, kind of got held on for second. But she ran a 64 buyer, which was interesting in debut, and ran a mile on a 16th. And I think that, that should help cutting back, because she can get the distance. So hopefully this is the right spot.
I had the 8 on my ticket as well. What attracted me was the second on the grass for Joe Sharp, a 30% trainer. I didn't put the 6 on my ticket. What I tend to do, and this is literally the first race I've looked at outside of the Saratoga meet. So the first time I've looked at a race other than Saratoga in the last about 6 weeks. And so when I'm approaching a new track like this, I tend to look for horses that have run the distance with a solid trainer. And a trainer that you may not be familiar with is Chris Block, who's had really good success at Kentucky Downs. I think I saw a tweet from Ed DeRosa hitting at 21% prior to last year. And so this horse, number 4, with Julian Le Peroux, as Vinny knows, Le Peroux is the jockey that when I bet him, he loses, and when I don't bet him, he beats me. I usually prefer him on some early speed, but from what I've read about Kentucky Downs, obviously, as you said, I feel like the pace is could be a little bit more suspect. And this horse here bumped at the start, ran 5 wide. So I know you like to have a horse that's run longer, although this horse ran at a mile, ran 5 wide. So hopefully that extra 16th, as you said, that they might have to face on this type of track is something that isn't a problem for this horse. And as I've said, I think on every single episode with Vinny, I'm a sucker for Kitten's Joy long on the turf. And so when I'm looking at a race at a new track that I haven't played in a while with 2-year-olds who haven't run a lot, I start to just go towards my foundation of what I am attracted to. And so a strong trainer with a horse that's run the distance by Kitten's Joy is the type of horse that's right up my alley. Am I making a mistake here putting this 4 on top for me?
No, not at all. I can't trust Leperoux as much as some people. He has won me some money this year at Saratoga. He has been riding pretty much, pretty well as of late. Which at first I was kind of like, oh, he wants to ride well now. And when I'm not betting him, and he's knocking me out of races, but
Every time.
it's just he's a kryptonite type of jockey. So no disrespect to him. So he's a trained professional, but I like this horse. Colonial, I've been following every meet or every day of the meet. I've been giving out free sheets for Colonial. Haven't missed a day yet. I don't remember if I had this horse in my top 3 off the top of my head, but I do remember the race, and she came rolling. So I think she has a chance to improve. Colonial's turf course is probably the best turf course quality wise in the country, in my opinion, and I don't think it's really a competition. So it might be a little bit of a change because of how fair that track plays. But I think she should be in a good trip, and she should be sitting like hopefully closer with Leparoux. But he likes to tend to take back and try to get the horse comfortable, and sometimes it costs them. So that's kind of why I stayed away.
Well, I'll probably be cursing him. But so the other horse, I had to back him up. I can't just put Le Peru single on a ticket. Again, as I said, in this type of initial race for me, I'm looking at solid trainers. I went with the 5, trained by Michael Maker, who generally has a pretty good job here at Kentucky Downs on the turf. This horse's running line is pretty interesting for those that missed it. 2 back at Saratoga, July 24th, declared a no contest. I don't know if you remember this, Andrew.
I do.
This was when they couldn't get the gate out of the track because the tractor broke down, and on the back stretch, trying to tell the horses to stop, and it was only like the last 3 or 4 horses, I think, that actually got the signal, and the horses on the front just kept going. And this horse here, Towhead, actually has the glory of having finished 1 by a nose in a non-wagering event. Comes back August 14th, so this race will be second off the layoff. But the winner there, Mama, I'm not sure. That was a very impressive race. So this horse was beat by a horse that was very impressive in that maiden special weight for 105,000. Ricardo Santana up, certainly possibly going to show some early speed. So 4, 5, and 8 is where I went on this race. What'd you think about the 5? Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of the same situation with Leparoux with Santana. And I don't knock Santana for anything, but I do prefer him better on dirt than turf most of the time.
Yeah.
But this horse, the non-wagering event was just a kind of a confusion type of race. And, she ran well, but the question mark is why is Tyler Cavalion not riding this horse? He's riding there. He's in this race. He's riding the 8. So I kind of stayed away from that because I think that if Gaffleon had the choice between a Maker and a Joe Sharp, he's going to take, he probably got called on both, and he probably chose the right one in his head. So I don't know. There's some question marks there for this one, but it definitely will be on the front end, which should be beneficial.
So I went 4, 5, 8. Andrew went 6 and 8. The only other horse, I shouldn't say the only horse, but the other horse I looked at pretty closely was this 2, Janice Joplin, with Florent Giroux, trained by Mark Cassey. Ran in a maiden special weight at Churchill Downs, went up to Saratoga, ran in 2 grade 3s at Schuylerville and the Adirondack with a 3rd place and a 2nd place finish. Definitely outran her odds. Speed figures looked pretty good. Obviously, those 3 races were on the dirt. Now it's being run on the turf, which I thought was an interesting angle. So you have a lot of questions as to this horse being entered here, but to me, it was very intriguing. Did you give any thought to Janice Joplin or not at all?
I think this horse shouldn't hate the distance. I think this horse likes the 1-turn aspect of racing.
Mm-hmm.
The class relief, I think, is there in my opinion. It's just is the class relief good enough to carry over for the turf form, because California Chrome horses are decent with breeding for turf, but they're nothing special. Same with, like, you have Arch on the dam side, which is okay. It's a confusing spot, and I'd rather get beat by a horse that I have a lot of question marks and confusion for than spend money and have the horse not finish anywhere in the money.
Yeah, great points. And
Yeah.
you got distance and surface questions. So usually, if there's just one of them, I'm more likely to add the horse. But with both of those, I'm on your page. Let them beat us, and hopefully, we have found our way through leg 1 of this double. We'll move on to race 8, which again, as you said, is a mile on the turf. This one's for the boys. Where'd you land here?
I really, really like Bramble Blaze here, the 2. I think that the 4 really good is going to get bet. And I do like really good's on my ticket. And really good probably is the best horse on form so far. But I think this Bramble Blaze horse is going to take very kindly to this course. Horse debuted at Monmouth, main special weight. Was fractious, was off a bit slow, was just really green. Had the apprentice Madeline Rowland, who's been riding very well as she gets more experience. It's a Ballybred homebred, which is also a very cool thing to see. I love homebreds in big races, but it's definitely a jockey upgrade. Horse should be sitting a little bit closer if it's had gate works before Monmouth, but he's only had one work since. The work was actually pretty solid, 50 flat for 4 furlongs breezing after or actually no works before. That one was before the August 14th race, but regardless, working good before that race, gets a good jockey upgrade, and it's a good spot for the horse to be pointed at. And I think this horse is getting better, or will get better as time goes on, because I think it was still green on debut, and to win like that and be green is a good sign to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't noticed that, but I think you bring up a good point, and especially the jockey upgrade there is something to pay attention to. I actually went with the 7, 12 to 1 shot. And the reason I went with this 7, a little crazy here, but Rusty Arnold's second maiden starting is really strong. 30%, $7 ROI. That's not as updated to this moment, but I have a notebook where I kind of write down stats, and I always say, hey, look out for Rusty Arnold's second time maiden. Second career race in Brisnet's, hitting at 22% with a positive ROI. The horse has run at a mile over a turf, a second place finish with a comment line that says bumped and bothered at the start. I haven't gone back and watched that race, but I know you tend to think that might be a negative. As I said in our last episode, I like to think that that's a positive, and this horse came closing really well in that race at Ellis Park. So I'm hoping I can get a little bit of a price here on a horse that is 12 to 1. Playing the trainer angle there. As I said, when I'm entering into a new park or a new track and don't have a lot of local knowledge, as many people might not, because there's only 7 races, I start to lean on something such as that with trainer. Chris Landros, I wish my jockey was a little bit better, but that's okay. The other 2 horses I landed on were the 4, who you did mention really good. Again, trainer angle, Michael Maker. This horse had run at a mile in the 16th at Saratoga. As you have explained to me, I should be looking for horses that run at a mile 16th over instead of a mile. So that is attractive to me. And on the 5, Castle Rock, again, a mile on the turf, Peter Miller, 25% in non-graded stakes, 25% second time on the grass. I'm really just playing a lot of these trainer percentages here to try and find my way through these tough fields of 2-year-olds. Did the 5 or 7 give you any intrigue?
The 7 did give me a little intrigue, but it's cross-entered into opening day. But the good thing in your favor for this race is that it is the 4th option on the alternate entries for that race for a maiden special weight. So most likely it won't get in. And even if it does, I think they probably rather run it for 500,000 than that maiden special weight on Thursday is pretty tough. So. Especially if you're breaking from the 16th hole. So, but I do like what you pointed out with the 7. I think that it definitely needs a better start. And it was probably the better of the 2 out of the Mayfield strong horse that's also in this race that beat that horse on debut. I think if you're going to take a horse out of that race, you're going to probably take Laver. And Castle Knock, I remember this horse running at Del Mar. It got an easy lead. That Del Mar turf course was around that time was very early speed friendly. So when nobody pressured him, he kind of walked the dog and never really was asked. But I don't think he's going to get that today. So that's why I didn't really go with that horse. And one note for really good that just to double back on that horse, that debut at Saratoga was really impressive. Swung 5 wide at the quarter pole. After being inside and then still coming on to rally and win going away. That horse probably is going to really love this course because the stamina is there. So I think that the 4 makes a really good case here.
So you have convinced me to add the 2 to my ticket as I choke here. because for an extra $3, I think you make some good points on that. And the reason that you had just mentioned on that 5 was the fact that the horse was shipping in from Del Mar. I saw that as a positive, which is why I added the horse. Excuse me, I can't breathe. So, anybody else that you thought of on this race?
No, I kind of just kept it simple and sweet with this this double, went 2x2. I didn't want to get too crazy. Anything can happen. So if I'm not gonna, if anything's gonna happen, hopefully it happens my way. But if I don't, it's only a $4 loss. So no, I just kept with 2 and a 4. I think 2's gonna improve. I think the 4 is really good and it fits the name. So there you go.
The 2 didn't update on my ticket here, so I'm adding it back in, and we will repost our tickets for Saturday for this double. Really exciting racing. It's disappointing that Saratoga is closing, but you have something to entertain you here. So for Saturday, races 7 and 8, I went with the 4-5-8 in race 7, the 2-4-5-7 in race 8. That ticket will cost you $12. Andrew went with the 6-8 in race 7 and the 2-4 in race 8 for only $4. So what I really love about these double shows is that we're putting up affordable tickets that hopefully we can catch some prices at. And if you lose, you can't be calling us, blaming us for losing $4. Just skip your coffee the next day, right?
Yep.
It's a lot easier to do something like that than to put out a pick 5 ticket that might cost you, $60, $70, $80, $90. Then you can blame us and tell us we don't know anything. But we like to try to keep it nice and easy so we don't get any of that hate mail.
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us and taking Vinny's spot. We'll see how these tickets do, and Vinny may be in trouble. And good luck. And want to give one more plug for your stable duel contest?
Yeah. If you guys are anybody's in the area for parks, I'll be up there on Labor Day. There will be some tournaments every Monday for the Road to the PA Derby. If you beat me or you finish ahead of me, which the first 2 weeks I didn't finish too well. So, I'm still kind of working out the kinks with stable duel and trying to figure out my stables. But if you finish ahead of me, there's giveaways that we'll be doing every Monday and all preparation for the big day. There'll be a big tournament on the actual PA Derby day, which is September 24th. I will also be there. Hopefully some other people will be there, some other big names and, fans and friends along the way. So, good times and good racing. So there we go.
Certainly stop by and say hello. How much are those stable duel games?
Usually they vary. So I think the first week we did a $15 game. Last week was a $25 game. They have other options. If you didn't want to do in those, they have different price points every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But the Road to the PA Derby games are only on Mondays. So, they vary. I think the big one is going to be a little bit bigger of a price on the big day. But I think we're going to get some games in the future where if one lucky guest gets to, get a free roll into that big tournament or something like that. So more to come, interviews and everything behind the scenes I'll be pumping out too. So
awesome. So I got my target out for you, and I will be seeing you in the stable duel
there you go.
games. And thanks so much for filling in for Vinny, and we'll have to continue adding you into our programs.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, man. Take care.